Today's subject is Sold, the book. Oh, stop your clapping. We don't know that. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Nicole tonight.
For those of you that have never seen the show, get out from under the rock you're living under. This show is just us talking about books and movies and giving a couple of spoilers every now and then.
Today, as you saw before, we're going to be talking about the book Sold. Right after this short introduction. Nicole tonight, the show. But let's get into the book and all of the things happening in it, like Hero's Journey. So the first thing in Hero's Journey is the call to adventure, and that is when the monsoon comes, washes away all the family's crops, and the stepfather says, as you heard, that she needs to be sold. Well, he doesn't say sold, but that she needs to go to this city and work as a maid, which, as you find out, is not the truth because she's sold into prostitution.
And obviously, there was no refusal to the call because she heard the news from her mom. And it was a lie, so she was very excited to become a maid. As we know, it's not true.
She became a prostitute.
Yes, sadly.
In the book, there are multiple supernatural aids, like Auntie and Uncle Husband, who, if you have read it or when you read it, you will find out who they are. They are just people that help her get to India, which she thinks they're going to the city. Auntie helps her by giving her clothes and shoes and telling her things about the city. And Uncle Husband helps her because he tells her about the city as well. And when they get to the border, he tells her to have her call him her husband, or else the men there that are working at the border may arrest her and do terrible stuff to her.
There are two supernatural aids in this book. Well, they're not real, but her bundle of home acts like one because it smells like her house and it gives her hope that she will get back to where she came from. The other supernatural aid is the American book, and it's important to her because Harris, the person who gave it to her, who, if you have read the book, you know who he is, and if you haven't, then you will find out pretty quickly. And he taught her very many things from that book that she uses in the future to help her out of a situation.
She also has a very important supernatural companion, and that would be Shahana, who she meets when she gets to this house where she is working at.
As a prostitute, not a maid.
And she quickly finds out when she gets there that she is not going to be a maid. But, sorry, I'm just getting a little confuzzled right now. Shahana is also a prostitute at that house, and she has been there much longer than Lakshmi, so she knows more of the rules, and she can help Lakshmi, and she gives her things. For example, she gives her a condom so then she cannot get diseases from the men, but she has to make sure that she does not show the owner of the place, Montaz. I'm sorry, I don't know if I said that right or not. Did I?
It's Mumtaz.
Sorry.
It's okay, everyone makes mistakes. You're welcome.
Mumtaz will beat her.
Yes. And how about when Lakshmi left her house in the countryside? That must have been a very scary experience for her, right?
Yes, it was. I call that the crossing the first threshold, because she's leaving her home in Nepal to go to what she thinks is the city, but it's really India, and she's been in Nepal her whole life, and then one day she just goes to be a maid prostitute.
Yes. And this act leads to the threshold guardian, because as she crosses the threshold, or you can say the border of Nepal and India, the police will ask her questions that could prevent her from getting to India if she says the answer wrong. Like if she said that uncle husband was not her husband, she could have been prevented from going to India and being me.
Yeah. So after she crosses the border, the road to trials begins. And that is when she gets to Mumtaz's house, she realizes that she's not there to be a maid. She is there to become a prostitute, which she knows is very bad.
Yes. It's a very emotional topic to talk about.
No, I seriously have something.
But especially when she finds out that it's nasty work and she doesn't want to do it, the lady beats her senselessly until she does it. And it's not even that Lakshmi is conscious. Lakshmi does not know what's going on when she's having sex because of this woman.
This woman beats her until there's no marks, until there is no unmarked part of her body.
This is obviously the road to trials because she's going through all this stuff at such a young age. It's not normal. It's not. It's a very emotional topic. Thank you.
And even that doesn't change how Lakshmi acts. Being beaten does not change what she believes in, because she's like, nope, I am not doing this. Not happening.
Honey.
So Mumtaz gives a girl a drink to bring to Lakshmi. This drink, it doesn't explain it too much, but I'm pretty sure it just kind of paralyzes her. She can't move, but she can feel what's happening when the men are doing the nasty work. And she can see and hear everything that's going on. And yeah, have anything to add to that?
Well, this pill and her unconsciously having sex with someone.
It's not a pill, it is a drink.
But it's a dissolved pill inside the drink.
Oh, I get
Yes,
what
yeah,
you're saying. Sorry,
yeah, yeah.
my fault.
Another very important part is the belly of the beast, which is when Lakshmi mentally battles with her thoughts because Mumtaz is trying to convince the guards that are trying to take her away for selling these girls that she's not guilty. And Lakshmi knows that if she says something in English to have the people understand what she's saying, that they will let her free. So she has to mentally battle with her shyness to do this action in order to let her out the house and live.
So talking about Mumtaz a lot, it brings you to the conclusion that she is the woman as the temptress because she has all this power to do whatever she wants to with Lakshmi. Like when Lakshmi gets sick from the men, Mumtaz could have just thrown her on the streets and Lakshmi would have probably died, but she decided to give her these pills and it helped her. But it also gives her the power that she can do it to all the other girls in the house too. It's not just Lakshmi.
And to answer the question of was there a night or sea journey, yes, there was, because she travels by foot and bus and it takes her to India and she has to travel at night and it's long nights that she travels, no sleep, no sitting for 3 days straight. So it is a very long and stressful night and sea journey.
Also, she thought she was going to the city, but she ends up in India.
Correct.
Yes. There is also an apotheosis, and this is when she has sex with the men, with all the men, and they act as if she is a god because they believe that she is letting them do this, but really she's not because she is, as what I would say, paralyzed, but
Yeah,
they don't know that.
They treat her as a god because they're so desperate for this sex. And she's giving it to them even though it's not in the correct way.
Men are pigs.
Yes, they are. Disgusting. No offense to the men in this classroom. Men are very attractive sometimes too.
Some men are.
Like Quinn.
Hey, Shane.
Okay, so, anyways, enough about this whole social media gossip and everything else. So, when Lakshima gets sick, the white pills act like the ultimate boon because without the pills, she would not be able to work.
And without work,
she wouldn't be able to go back home.
no money would be sent home.
Exactly.
She wouldn't be sent home.
She
would
be
be thrown on the streets.
A little bit too overboard there.
The refusal of the turn is when the first American comes and he says, I know of a clean place I can bring you, but she kind of hesitates just because the other girls at this house have told her bad things about Americans.
Yes, lies.
Lies. I am an American and I know I would not do anything to harm another person, American or not. So she says, well, I don't really. She's like, no.
Because she's scared that
she's scared.
they convinced her that Americans are bad and she's scared to trust him.
Very scared. So she refuses at first. A second American comes. She refuses again. But then when they come to the house and they arrest Mumtaz, she comes running out. And
Very emotional.
She doesn't refuse anymore. She runs. And let me read you what she says to them. It is on page 263. My name is Lakshmi, I say. I am from Nepal. I am 14 years old.
This is in English that she says that. That's very heartbreaking because she doesn't really know English that well. And her friend Harris taught her it. But anyways, back to the story. The abduction that happens in the story, I was debating between Harris and Shahana, but I feel like it's Shahana because she goes missing after an invasion with the police. And it doesn't tell us where she goes, but I'm actually assuming that A, either the police took her and did bad things with her, or B, they took her and took her back to her family, like what the Americans would do with Lakshmi, I assume.
I have another thing to add on to that. I have a feeling that like the American men came to Lakshmi,
Yes.
asking, do you want to go to this clean place? I have a feeling they might have done the same thing to Shahana,
Mm-hmm.
and then she ran out with
Yes.
them. So, back to the Americans. The magic flight is when Lakshmi hears the Americans, and then she runs to them, forgetting what Mumtaz would do to her if she had to stay.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
Okay, enough about the journey. Okay. The final battle is the same thing because she leaves with the Americans and leaves Mumtaz's house. But instead of being kidnapped and not knowing where she's going, I mean, of course she doesn't know where she's going, but instead of it being surprise, she sort of expected it because she was waiting for the Americans to return for a very long time.
Yes, she was. At the very end of the story, she has the freedom to live because now she is free to go with the Americans and she's not forced by Mumtaz to have sex with these men who can give her diseases, which she has gotten before.
Disgusting.
Disgusting men! And also, she saves all the other girls that she was with because Mumtaz is arrested. There's not going to be anybody to rule the house, so she frees all